Welcome to the Street Report Connection with Tommy. This report is going to be on, let's see, it's Monday night. What program do we normally report on? Raw, that's it. And also, like 2 matches on Superstars. Didn't see any dark matches reports, so I guess they didn't have any. And some brief news on some former talent of WWE. Jeremiah Riggs, who appeared as a contestant on Tough Enough last year, believes he has been blackballed from all of professional wrestling industry after receiving no interest from WWE TNA Wrestling last year at all. He's quoted by saying, "I've been approached by a few wrestling promoters about coming in and doing some stuff. My manager even met with TNA several times, but in the end, politics won out. Am I blackballed in wrestling because of FCW? Probably, but all is good. I enjoyed wrestling, but I'm not a wrestler. I'm a professional athlete." So he told, the article came from hereasyourwinner.com. That was an interview. In regards to FCW, a notorious incident with Dusty Rhodes and training staff led to WWE rejecting the Mississippi native, who I just spoke about being Jeremiah Riggs. There were a lot of guys with the same look doing the same stuff, trying to kick ass and get ahead. That's not me, he said. Some of the guys told me that they thought it was great because I was myself and I didn't sell out or kiss ass. I have nothing but respect for Dusty or Bill DeMott, but I'm not a yes man. I will do whatever is asked of me and give it 100%, but I don't do politics. What you see is what you get, unquote. Riggs now has his sights set on mixed martial arts. He will make his return to the cage on March 16, 2012 at Bellator 61 against the undefeated Trey Houston. To read his comments on the fight, go to hereasyourwinner.com. See if he says anything else. Apart from wrestling at this year's WrestleMania, The Rock will be filming 2 new movies in 2012. One called Pain and Gain. That's a new Michael Bay film, also featuring Mark Wahlberg, and also the other movie being Empire State. Alberto Del Rio will be appearing at the Florida Championship Wrestling event in Punta Gorda, Florida, at the Charlotte Harbor Events Center on April 6th. So, will he return? Well, he was supposedly returned back to WWE over the weekend when he replaced Christian in a live event show. Also, WWE superstar Ted DiBiase wrote the following on Twitter when a fan asked him about how his injured wrist was doing. He said, "Still broke, but it's going to take a lot more than a broken wrist to hold me down. Thanks for asking." Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker have been confirmed for the March 5th Raw Super Show from Boston, Massachusetts. Joining The Rock on the big show from John Cena's hometown, the TD Garden just announced. The Undertaker returns to Boston for the first time in 2 years, but with both of The Undertaker's last 2 WrestleMania opponents, The Game, Triple H, and the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, under the same roof, something's got to give. And it was kind of real shaky tonight on Raw due to the fact that Shawn was asking Triple H why didn't he accept the challenge. And also some breaking news, WWE.com has removed Kevin Nash's profile from the Raw roster page and placed it on the alumni section. Nash has not appeared for WWE since losing to Triple H in the ladder match at the December pay-per-view TLC. Tables, ladders, and chairs, he succumbed to the game after taking a sledgehammer shot to the face. The legendary grappler went on Twitter to comment on his immediate future, and he wasn't very happy. Some of the fans that commented and asked him a question. Punk Cena got Raw covered, while I have my couch covered. My 15-year-old son so needs a dad way more than Raw needs Big Sexy. He tweeted on last night. Nash also added that he is doing things on his own terms and that he is not retired from professional wrestling. He later became agitated when a Twitter user said he could return to second-rate wrestling organization TNA since he's past it now. Nash responded, "Don't remember working you." "Past what?" "Oh shit, sorry, you think it's real?" "Yeah, my fastball lost a little zip, you fucking mark." That's what he was saying. Then he wrote the following to another Twitter user who said triple sucks. "We'll lose to The Undertaker at WrestleMania 28 and thus retire forever. First of all, Mr. Fan, Triple H will not face Undertaker at WrestleMania. And the reason will be in a few seconds." Well, he also said, you don't know the shit is fake, right? Triple H could beat him if he was the person you think. Pa will do what's right. Unquote. Well, WWE has published the third episode of the WWE Download. Synopsis reads, Dolph Ziggler shares his hilarious insight on YouTube's finest videos, picking apart the digital disasters from an array of tools and fools who provide countless head-spinning moments for the world to share. Former WWE developmental talent Wes Briscoe and independent wrestler J.D. Maverick were casted by the Alexa modeling agency for a financial institution national television commercial being shot today and tomorrow. Matches taped Monday night at the Valley View Casino in San Diego, California as follows. WWE United States Champion Jack Swagger will face Mason Ryan, Alex Riley and Santino in a tag match versus tag team champions Epico and Primo. Wow, they must not have any other tag team personnel. And they will also be with Rosa Mendez. Swagger's match against Ryan is the third consecutive week on Superstars. At one point, Triple H was scheduled to main event the WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And here's your news on Triple H. Well, he made the decision to nix the planned match and pull himself from getting back into the ring. Talk going around is that Triple H felt he shouldn't be wrestling so soon after Night of Champions, wanting his matches to be special. Well, it's a special occasional thing. So, is WrestleMania not a special occasion thing? Well, it's only one time a year. While more than a few people within WWE still aren't totally sold on CM Punk as a WWE champion, it's said that he has won over a lot of them in the past few weeks, especially with his performance at TLC. A possible feud between John Cena and Daniel Bryan will possibly be on SmackDown, because Bryan was brought up at a recent WWE creative meeting. This does not mean that they will be doing the dupe, but they are considering it for some time after WrestleMania, as it was brought up and discussed. And your Superstars matches, very brief results. Jack Swagger beats Mason Ryan, and Epico and Primo defeated Alex Riley and Santino Marella. And now for your Raw Super Show. Started with a look back at last week, where Kane confronted Eve at the end of the show. Kane says he's afraid of himself. We're live from San Diego, and Kane is in the back. Kane says that there's nothing he won't do to finally get John Cena to embrace the hate. Kane says two things will happen tonight. Cena will embrace the hate, and someone will ride in this. And they show an ambulance as he hits the door. Kane opens the doors of an ambulance backstage and stares at the camera as we go to the normal Raw opening video. We go to the ring, and Jerry Lawler is in the middle of the ring and not at the announcer's table. Well, they're having a debate. You got the covered ring, and you got the Price is Right kind of, might want to say, what do you call it? Pedestals. Like preachers preach on. Well, anyways, on with the things. They're also covered in black. And they're staged, and some of them will fall down during the segment. Okay, well, Chris, with all the Raw participants in the Elimination Chamber already basically in the ring, basically already in the ring, and for those that don't know and have fallen off the face of the earth for the last 2 or 3 weeks, Chris Jericho, Kofi Kingston, The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth, and champion CM Punk were all on each pedestal. Each superstar has their own podium, whatever. And Lawler says this is the first ever Elimination Chamber debate. Lawler tries to explain the rules, but the crowd chants for Punk. Well, each person has 45 seconds for their little speech. Punk is up first, and Lawler asks him what makes him think that he can leave the chamber still WWE champion. Well, you get interrupted by John Laurinaitis. As he comes out with David Otunga, Laurinaitis is happy to be there tonight, as he still has a job, and he's happy to have the support of the board of directors. Whatever. Laurinaitis thanks the board. He should be getting a board of education. Popped on his butt as he leaves the arena. Well, Laurinaitis thanks everyone else and waves to the crowd. Lawler goes back to the question. Punk promises this debate won't end in violence. Punk addresses Laurinaitis and mentions that the naked pictures and bestiality of the whatever he has against the board of directors. Punk talks about the Elimination Chamber now and says he is the best wrestler in the world. That's why he's going to win. Lawler asks Ziggler for his comments, but Vicky Guerrero, excuse me, she thinks that there would be no booing allowed. Dolph says he's a better wrestler than everyone in the ring. Ziggler says he backs it up every single night. R-Truth says if he's elected, he's going to trade Vicky and Dolph to SmackDown for Hornswoggle and a box of spiders. Truth goes on and on. He ends it with, God bless little Jimmy. God bless everybody else. And also, God bless the USA. Well, he's doing the famous quote in whenever Chris Tucker or Chris Rock was doing that movie. Whatever, I forgot what the name of the movie is. Well, Miz was up next. Miz runs everyone down. But his time runs out when he starts ragging on Chris Jericho. The buzzer keeps going off. Miz won't stop talking. Kofi tells him to shut the F up. Well, not shut the F up, just tell him to shut up. Kofi says he has been overlooked for far too long, but everything has a chance in the chamber. Kofi says he could walk out the next WWE champion. Finally, Jericho is up next. Jericho says everyone needs to quiet down because the true best in the world is about to tell the facts. Jericho talks about his history with the chamber matches being he's been in the most, has won the most. Jericho tells Punk, a boy tells him to look at him when he's talking. Actually, he's like, boy, you better look at me when I'm talking to you. Jericho says the master has came to reclaim what is his, and Punk should just give him the WWE title. Punk shrugs Jericho off and acts like he's not even listening to him, and brings up him losing as the 7th couple on the Dancing with the Stars. Ziggler says the debate is a joke, and R-Truth interrupts him. Lawler says it's time for the matches. Up first is Kofi versus Jericho. Jericho goes over and has words for Punk. Punk raises the WWE title. Jericho tips over one of the podiums. Turns around. Well, he actually knocked off 2 podiums, which was R-Truth and Dolph Ziggler's. And then he turns around in Trouble in Paradise from Kofi Kingston. The match will take place after the break. Kofi and Chris Jericho is up next. Back from the break, and they go at it. Kofi backs Jericho up in the corner and stomps away. Jericho fought back, but Kofi dropped him with a forearm and a kick. Kofi kept control of Jericho and clotheslines him out to the floor. Kofi suicide dives through the ropes, taking Jericho out again. Kofi brings it back in the ring and hits a series of right hands in the corner until Jericho powerbombs him to the mat. Jericho worked over Kofi and backdropped him before hitting a back splash for 2. Jericho goes to the submission that he normally does, the Boston Crab thing. Jericho, okay, and works over Kofi's arm now. Kofi fights back but misses a drop kick. Jericho with a low drop kick and another 2 count. Jericho with big chops in the corner now. Kofi hits a crossbody from the corner, but Jericho kicks out at 2. Kofi with forearm shots and a drop kick. Kofi gets dumped on to the apron, but springboards back in. Jericho catches him in midair and applies the walls to Jericho. Kofi manages to get to the ropes and break the hold. Well, Jericho thought he won and argues with the referee. Turns around to another trouble in paradise for Kofi. Kofi covers, but Jericho gets a foot on the bottom rope at 2. Kofi struggles with Jericho as the referee tries to pull him back. Jericho sneaks a thumb in the eye and hits the code breaker for the win. And they show Shawn Michaels walking backstage like he just arrived in the arena. He's greeted by Triple H as they hug. They talk a few seconds. Still to come tonight, Big Show versus Randy Orton was shown, and they go back to commercial. Back from the break, and John Cena is talking to Zack Ryder backstage. Ryder is still wearing braces, but has roses in his hand as he's in his wheelchair. He has something to tell Eve Torres tonight. Cena says Kane has vowed to bring pain to Ryder every time he shows up. Cena tells Ryder to stay in his locker room. He will go get Eve and bring her back so they can have alone time for Valentine's. And they cut to whatever it was. Okay, Laurinaitis is backstage with David Otunga. Otunga pointing out that the board didn't make Laurinaitis the permanent GM of Raw. Otunga has an idea to where Laurinaitis would be the permanent GM of Raw and SmackDown. Laurinaitis looks interested to hear Otunga's ideas, but they don't go into it. They cut to ringside with Michael Cole, showing us footage from SmackDown where Randy Orton and Big Show brawled after Orton versus Daniel Bryan on SmackDown. World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Bryan comes out and taunts the fans. Bryan looks to be joining commentary. Well, you got Orton versus Big Show is next. Back to commercial. Okay, back from the break. Bryan is still sitting beside the announcer's table. Not even behind it. It's like right beside it and doesn't even say anything during commentary. Big Show is out first, followed by Randy Orton. Match starts and Show shoves Orton off. Show uses his power and connects with a big side slam for a 2 count. Orton ducks the knockout punch and rolls out of the ring as they go to commercial. Back from the break. Orton is wearing Show down with a sleeper hold as Bryan looks on smiling. Show gets free and hits Orton with 2 clotheslines and a splash in the corner. Orton comes right back with a big drop kick and both men go down. They end up on the floor and Show throws Orton back in, but has a stare down with Bryan. Show comes back to the apron, but Orton drop kicks him. Show is stuck on the apron in a daze. Well, Orton manages to bring him in with the draping DDT off the top rope. Orton botches a first RKO, but they run the ropes and he hits the second one. Daniel Bryan rushed. Well, during the botch, Show actually falls to the side and then right on his back. Because Orton kind of dropped him with a slip. Daniel Bryan rushed in the ring after the second one to interrupt the match, and it's now a disqualification. So winner of the match by DQ is Randy Orton. Well, like I said, Daniel Bryan rushed in the ring and took shots at Orton and also at Big Show. Because after the bell, Bryan hits Big Show in the head with the title. And they say after the commercial, Shawn Michaels makes his return, which starts off the second hour. Back from the break, and out comes the Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels, starting off hour number 2. Shawn says he's back because it's WrestleMania time, and you can't have that without Mr. WrestleMania himself. Shawn says no matter where he's at, he'll still be the headliner, the showstopper, Well, he can't be the Mr. WrestleMania. Well, he replaced that with Mr. Hall of Fame. Shawn says he was watching last week to see Triple H accept The Undertaker's challenge for WrestleMania. Shawn says he was shocked when Triple H didn't accept it. Shawn says he called John Laurinaitis so he could come to Raw and talk to his best friend. Shawn calls out Triple H and so he can tell us all what we want to hear. Triple H music hits and out he comes. Triple H comes out and they do one of the DX poses. They talk and Shawn says he wanted to be here live to hear the news of Triple H facing Undertaker at WrestleMania. Triple H says he won't be facing Taker at WrestleMania and thought he made it clear last week. Triple H says he won the war and to beat the Undertaker again, he has to end the war and he's not willing to do that. Because he says Triple H is his own brand. Okay. Triple H says he's not that guy anymore. Shawn says that is exactly who Triple H is. That's what he does. Shawn says he has never left Triple H's side, but wonders if Triple H married that chick and became one of them. Shawn asks if Triple H has became a sellout. Shawn says when a man challenges you and you back down, that makes you a coward. Triple H goes to leave, but Shawn pulls him back in. He's not finished. Shawn says a coward is still a coward at the end of the day, no matter how you dress it up, or how you dress it up. Triple H goes to leave again from the ring, and Shawn taunts him. Triple H comes right back in and stares him face in the face and says he has a real life responsibilities. Triple H says this. All of this, WWE is going to be his. He says it's his responsibility and it weighs on his shoulders. He says now he can't look at Taker as an opponent. He looks at him as a brand that's good for business. He can't let that brand in because that's bad for business. Triple H says he won't be the one to end that era for no reason. Not because Taker wants him to. Fans want him to. Triple H then says he won't do it for his ego or Shawn's ego. Triple H says Shawn wants to live vicariously through him because he couldn't get things done. Shawn says that was an awesome speech and probably works on a lot of people. But Shawn says he's at peace where he's at in life. Shawn says Triple H has no peace. Shawn tells Triple H to look him in the eye and say he doesn't want to end Taker and his streak, that he doesn't need it. Shawn tells Triple H to look at him in the eye again and say no. Triple H goes to walk off, but Shawn tells him to look him in the eyes. Shawn and Triple H come face to face again in the middle of the ring. Triple H says no and drops the microphone. Well, Shawn backs off and bumps into Triple H as he leaves the ring. Just a little shoulder shove. Shawn stops at the stage and looks back at Triple H before walking to the back. Triple H finally goes to leave when the bell tolls and the lights go out. A video plays and it's Taker saying he wants what is his, give me what is mine, immortality. The video shows Taker cutting his hair with scissors. So there you go. When he comes back, if he comes back, he'll be back to his normal, no long hair anymore. And they cut back to Triple H watching from inside the ring before another commercial break. Up next is Dolph Ziggler versus R-Truth. Back from the break, Dolph is in the ring with Miss Vicky Guerrero. Out next comes R-Truth. Ziggler strikes first and takes Truth down for a 1. Truth counters from out of the corner and hits a kick to the jaw. Truth charges and Ziggler moves. Truth hits the ring post with a shoulder. Ziggler rolls him up for a 2. Ziggler connected with a drop kick for a pin attempt. Ziggler shows off some before going to another headlock. Well, Ziggler keeps up the offense and drops a big elbow for another 2. Ziggler shows off again, but as he's doing some sit-ups, Truth takes him from the head, rolls him up for a quick pinfall. Out of nowhere. Rolls him up. Schoolboy roll up. Zack Ryder backstage when Santino walks in. Santino wants Ryder to try his Santino brand breath strips. Ryder says they're disgusting after he tries one, and that's about it for that segment. Well, actually Santino says, well, that's his garlic. Wow, garlic breath mint. That was that segment. And then they go back to commercial. Up next was your Divas match of the night. Tamina. That's Tamina Snuka versus Brie Bella. No twin magic tonight. Back from the break, Divas champion Beth Phoenix is on commentary. Beth versus Tamina is announced for an elimination chamber. Brie Bella starts the match off and Tamina attacks first. Brie pulls her down over the ropes and connects with a drop kick to turn things around. Nikki gets on the apron and distracts Tamina, but Tamina knocks her off the apron. Tamina fights off Brie and hits the Samoan drop, and then climbs up top and hits a superfly splash for the win. And they go backstage. Cena is backstage talking with Josh Matthews as they go to commercial. We get the hype video after the break for The Rock. Josh Matthews is backstage with John Cena for his reaction. Before Cena can speak, we hear Eve Torres screaming. Kane is loading her up into the ambulance. John Cena makes a save and attacks Kane. He tells Eve to unlock the door, but Kane's over and slams him into the window. Kane hops in the ambulance and drives off, but Eve has already escaped and is being held by Cena. Eve grabs Cena and kisses him. Well, Cena is actually kissing him back. Because at first, Cena was like, okay. It's like he still has in his arm. Well, he had one arm around her. And then after the kiss, they both embrace. Well, Zack Ryder is shown there in his wheelchair and saw the whole thing. Ryder is very upset as they go to commercial. Okay. So that's going to set up the heel turn, or whichever. Well, probably of Ryder, because he's pissed off at Cena. CM Punk versus Miz was up next. Back from the break, and now comes the Miz. And Punk was out next. To a nice reaction from the crowd. Bell rings, and Punk goes for a pin attempt early on. Punk with a suplex and another pin attempt. Miz tries to come back, but Punk kicks him in the mouth for another pin attempt. Miz rams Punk back in the corner. And he now hits shoulder thrust. Miz takes Punk to the mat now and works on the arm. Miz hits the neck breaker, but Punk blocks the combo with a big kick to the head. Miz beats Punk down, but Punk comes back with kicks and a neck breaker. Punk with a high knee in the corner and a bulldog. Well, this was actually almost like a walkthrough match, because it was mighty slow to me. Miz fights off with a GTS and drops Punk with a DDT for a 2. Miz hits a clothesline in the corner and climbs up top. Miz comes down, but Punk moves. Punk power slams Punk for a 2. Miz power slams Punk for a 2. They end up on top, and Punk knocks Miz back to the mat. Punk hits the big elbow drop, Macho Man style, from the side, from the top, and calls for the GTS. Miz blocks the GTS again and goes for a skull crusher finale. Punk blocks that and applies the Anaconda device to make Miz tap out. Didn't take but 5 seconds once he was in it, and he's out. Tapping. Okay, next up we got Chris Jericho watching backstage from that match as Punk celebrates and Jericho smiling. The ambulance backs up into the backstage area as we go to commercial. So that means just Kane is driving back to the arena, because obviously he didn't see Eve escape. Back from the break, and out comes John Cena to the ring. And this is right at the 10 o'clock hour. He just had an awkward moment by the ambulance. Cena says he tried to apologize to Zack Ryder, but Ryder wouldn't listen. Cena says he's sorry. Cena says this was Kane's plan all along. Turn his friends against him, turn the WWE Universe against him, and leave him with no choice but to embrace the hate. Cena says that was a solid plan, and would have worked on anybody else, but he's not anybody else. Cena goes on about how he's proud of who he is and what he does. Cena says he rises above hate. Cena makes another mention of The Rock. Cena says he will win. We have his word. Kane leaves on Sunday in an ambulance. As for Dwayne, Cena has a message about WrestleMania. Zack Ryder comes wheeling himself out to the stage. Ryder stands up on crutches and starts walking down to the ring. Ryder slowly gets in the ring as his wheelchair is still up. Well, obviously with a back injury. Well, to me, this was another botch. Zack Ryder was like walking down the stage, leaning over. Well, first of all, the crutches should be to where he won't have to lean over and injure more of his back. I'm just saying that it just makes more sense if the crutches actually seem that it would fit the person. Okay, well, back to that. Trying to sell his injuries, Ryder smacks the microphone from Cena's hand, so you don't hear nothing else said. Cena tries talking to him, but Ryder slaps him in the face several times. Cena takes off his shirt and dog tags as Ryder vents. Ryder says Cena was never his friend. You can hear him screaming without the microphone being in the center of the ring. Ryder goes to hit Cena, but Cena blocks it. Cena brings his fist up, but does not connect with it because he doesn't even try to hit him. Instead, Ryder just lands on the mat, falls backwards. Ryder backs out of the ring and walks back up the ramp with the crutches. Kane appears on the big screen and says Cena is in denial. Kane says Cena stole the one true love of his only friend. Kane says Cena has finally embraced the hate. Kane says he feeds off of hate, and on Sunday it will be the last time we see Cena compete in a WWE ring until WrestleMania. Kane says Cena's body and soul will be leaving WWE in an ambulance on the Sunday. Kane asks for a round of applause from Cena. For Cena, that is. Cena asks for a mic as Ryder watches from his wheelchair on the stage. Well, as Cena's trying to pick up the microphone, Kane runs out from backstage and shows Ryder's wheelchair with Ryder off the stage. Ryder crashes down on the concrete. Actually, the wheelchair hits and he bounces off face first. Cena and an official run over to check on Ryder. Well, actually, Cena got out of the ring, ran to the announcer's table to grab one of the guys that was sitting there on the corner, and then they run to assist on Zack. And then let's see. Okay, more officials and EMTs bring out a stretcher. As they are bringing out the stretcher, I seen Kane run through where the curtain was, where they came in. So there you go. So that was a botch from somewhere. He comes out crying and looking on as they load Ryder onto the stretcher. Ryder is taken away on the stretcher as Raw goes off the air. And like I said, as the medics on Raw, when the medics came to put Ryder on the stretcher, if you rewind your DVRs, you can actually see Kane himself walking backstage through past the curtain area. If you know how the stage is, well, the curtain's off to the right, so he just walks around, still catching them, still going to be seen on site. So that's like two botches on Raw, one by Randy Orton, and then one by the Kane with the walking backstage with the open curtain. And that ends my video for this week for Raw and Partial Superstars. Stay tuned if I can find it within the next hour. Your TNA Wrestling, actually Impact Wrestling results for this Thursday. If not, there will be on tomorrow night's show. Well, it's its own little video. Well, thanks for reviewing, and y'all have a nice night. Stay tuned for tomorrow.